In no nation are the fruits of accomplishment more secure. In no nation are the fruits of accomplishment more secure. Thus said President Herbert Hoover on March 4th, 1929, in his inaugural address. Of course, by October, that is, the stock market would collapse. Millions of jobs would go away within the course of 2-3 months, and our nation would be plunged into a Great Depression. Our barns are never as strong as we think they are. Our barns are never as strong as we think they are. The market collapses. Jobs disappear. And when things seem like they couldn't possibly be any worse, a dust bowl descends, and the ground literally beneath our feet is blown away. In no nation are the fruits of accomplishment more secure. And yet our barns are never as strong as we think they are. It would be 20 years before our nation would regain its footing. Even the strongest of barns, can be undercut and toppled by a river of greed that runs below them. And then that strong barn, that good corporation, that healthy relationship, it just falls into this sinkhole that opens up from a river of greed that undercuts a strong barn. Enron, WorldCom, Lehman Brothers, Theranos, more recently. And it, of course, goes well beyond corporate America. Friendships collapse over someone's singular drive to acquire and maintain more of something, more possessions, more power, more control. Many a congregation, many a denomination, and our own Roman Catholic siblings, we have all experienced the turmoil of barns collapsing as ecclesiastical greed and corruption. And this religious focus of just acquiring more power or people or things undercuts the message of Jesus Christ. In no nation are the fruits of accomplishment more secure, and yet our barns are never as strong as we think they are because they are undercut by rivers of greed. Let me just try a few of these sayings out and see if they sound at all familiar to you. Bigger is better, right? More is a sign of success. You can never have too much of a good thing. Lots of people see a bigger church as a better church, because bigger in their mind is synonymous with better. Having more possessions is a sign that we are clearly more successful. There's no such thing as too much of a good thing, so the focus is always on acquiring more, not enjoying what we already have. I'm not immune from this. I don't want you to think that because I'm standing closer to the cross here that I am immune from any of this. I doubt any of us really are. I doubt anyone raised in this country after the Great Depression is actually immune from this mindset. The values and stories told by our parents and our grandparents about the Great Depression. They are beloved stories, but they're not fallen. In today's scripture, Jesus reminds us that personal greed will undercut our society. It will harm our security. It will damage our relationships. And he teaches that the fruits of accomplishment are only secure if we are rich towards God and towards one another. There's a funny creed that I heard several years ago called the Toddler's Creed. The Toddler's Creed. And maybe you've heard this creed too. It lays out a young child, a toddler's, understanding of what it means to have a possession. It goes like this. If I want it, it's mine. If I have it in my hand, it's mine. If I had it a while ago, it's mine. If I gave it to you and I changed my mind, it's mine. If it looks like mine, it's mine. If I saw it first, it's mine. If you are playing with it and you put it down, it's mine. If I can take it from you, it's mine. And if it's mine, it will never belong to anyone else, no matter what, because it's mine. It's funny when a 3-year-old does that, or at least it's funny to everyone except that 3-year-old's parents. But it's much less funny when a 43-year-old or a 73-year-old behaves that way, believing that all the riches of the world are mine. In her book, Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I Have Loved, Kate Fowler wonders, what if rich didn't have to mean wealthy? What if rich didn't have to mean wealthy? What if being people of the gospel means simply that we are people rich with good news? God is here. We are loved. It is enough. Possessing God's love is enough. Which is hard to believe in a country where the fastest growing part of the real estate market for the last 10 years has been construction of self-storage units. Even abandoned malls are being converted into self-storage units, which, as one article points out, is a true full circle of American consumerism. Now, we use them because businesses need to store extra inventory. Millennials move into a loft in Center City and there is no room for their possessions. Families downsize out of the family home and want to keep their treasured memories in a secure place. So there are reasons we do this, but we can't ignore the fact that they're also just used to enable this ongoing process of acquiring and maintaining the possessions which add to our sense of security and self-worth. But what if rich didn't have to mean wealthy or many possessions? Jesus tells a parable of a man who built bigger and bigger storage units. I'm sorry, not storage units, barns for his grain and goods. But what is a barn besides a storage unit, really? He believes that the fruits of his accomplishment will now allow him to relax and eat and drink and be merry for all the days of his life. Not for the first time and not for the last time in Scripture, God calls someone a fool. There's a 4-letter word for you. God calls someone a fool. And so it will be, we are told, with all who store up treasures for themselves but are not rich towards God. Turns out the Toddler's Creed is funny at 3, but not at 43. The man's possessions will not allow him to control his destiny. It's often said that control is an illusion. I don't think so. I think control is a drug. I think it is very, very real. And I think we get addicted to this idea that as long as we're accumulating something, anything, power, supporters, friendship, prestige, possessions, money, as long as we're acquiring something, we can control things. But like any addiction, this ultimately hurts us and hurts the people around us. And I think our society is addicted to greed. Psychology talks about, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong here, Andy, but psychology talks about how greed, this focus on acquiring and maintaining possessions, teaches that our personal value is found in our personal wealth. That our personal value is found in our popularity or in our power. And that our life has meaning because of these things that we surround ourselves with. And so people speak of my airplane or my possessions or my position or my supporters, or in today's scripture, my inheritance. Psychologists explain that people flaunt these things. They flaunt their power, their prestige, their popularity. They flaunt all of this to prove their personal value. But can we hear the emptiness of that? The hollow core of that? The emptiness that's there if we decide that our life only has value because we have things? Those properties or clubs or buildings or products or whatever, which we flaunt to the world to show how successful we are, how smart we are, how popular and powerful we are, they're just a mask. Behind it sits this fear that maybe we aren't actually very good at all. Without all that stuff, maybe nobody will like us. Greed is empty. And actually, I think it's worse than that. I think greed is empty and it's dangerous. Because greed has a first cousin called violence. And it's been particularly made clear again in violence that comes from young white men with guns. You think I'm powerless. Look how powerful I am. You think I can't control things. Watch how I can shape the world. You think I have no value. Watch how I can show you my power that I have accumulated. I think that greed and violence are undercutting and destroying our society. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." And Jesus replied, "Take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." From Genesis on, we are taught that our lives have value simply because we are created in God's image. We have self-worth because we have a spark of the divine within us. And the Bible then proceeds to consistently caution against finding our self-worth or our self-esteem in the things that we own, or how popular we are, or what possessions we may have, or how powerful our position may be. Our lives have value not because of any of that. Our lives have value because we are daughters and sons of a king. Our lives have value because God has walked with us through the unimaginable valleys of our journeys. And God has celebrated with us from the greatest of mountain tops. our lives have value because we are loved and we love. And only in that love that we receive and that we share are the fruits of our accomplishments truly secure.